India is the IT destination of the world. The country has also emerged as a global outsourcing hub. To partake the technological advancements and trigger creativity in learning is the mission of the Indian Institute of Information Technology with Dr. Soumya Narayan Sadagopan as its founder director. It was jointly promoted by the government of Karnataka and the IT industry in 1999. A Fulbright scholar, and his name is listed in Marquis Who is Who in the World since 1997.
Regarding my early childhood days, I was born in Kumbakonam, the temple town, but when I was very young, we moved to Mylapore, another temple town in Madras, now called Chennai. Temples continue to have an influence on me, and even today I try to visit a temple wherever I am once a day. What I distinctly remember of my childhood school days: typical middle class life, fairly hard pressed for money, running from one ration shop to another ration shop. But I still distinctly recall what my father used to say. It still has significant influence on me. Never spend a penny more than what you have to, but do not hesitate to spend $1 million if you have to, precisely in that order. I went to College of Engineering, Guindy, and the city of Madras is a fascinating city. Getting to IT was more of an accident. A few of us wanted to get access to computers when we were in the third year of engineering. You know, there were so few computers in the whole country and it was impossible to get access. But a strange coincidence, the administrators of the computer center were finding it difficult to serve the demand. They would not like to work at odd hours, typically nights, etc. So we became unofficial volunteers, 3 of us, and that got me excited into computers, and it has never been looking back. In short, IT just happened to me in my life by accident, and probably we are also fortunate to get into computing when it was the most exciting thing. It continues to be exciting, but as every area, computing has also matured. So you have the structure, course X, course Y, course Z. Course X is a prerequisite to course Y, etc., etc. It was all a flux. You know, those days, what is today known as a database management system did not exist. We are talking of late 60s, but it was fun. I think I enjoyed every bit of it.
Professor Sadagopan got his bachelor's degree in engineering from the Madras University that produced the Nobel laureates Dr. C.V. Raman and Subramaniam Chandrasekhar. After a brief stint at the consultancy firm Messrs. Engineers India Limited at New Delhi during 1973-76, he moved to Purdue University, USA for his master's and doctoral degree before returning to India to teach at IIT Kanpur. An outstanding teacher, having taught for a full term at the Rutgers University, New Jersey, USA, IIT Chennai, and IIT Bangkok, Thailand, in addition to short-term visits to several premier universities around the world. He has taught courses in the enterprise area, computing and communications area, information systems and operation research. For most of the courses, Professor Sadagopan develops extensive teaching materials, lecture notes, problems, projects, and often even solutions that are freely distributed over the web. Instructors and students worldwide have benefited from this open courseware.
IT had seen a boom and a bust in the later half of 90s and in the first year of this century. But those kind of bust probably will not happen again. I think we have learnt. I am sure that different kind of bust might happen. But what many of us are convinced that IT has become a deep technology. Sometimes I call it invisible technology. Practically every field of human activity is influenced by IT. You from the media, you know how much the video blogs are likely to change the journalism. Media industry is affected, and we have a new form of media called the web, the new forms of corporations like AOL, and healthcare is affected by IT, industrial automation is affected by IT, construction is affected by IT, architecture is influenced by IT. So, in that sense, every form of human activity being affected by IT, IT will become invisible technology. So, in that sense, it will grow for a fair amount of time, and already it is a $2 trillion opportunity, $2,000 billion or 2,000 into another 4,000 plus crores industry. So, obviously, we do not expect the bust in the sense people expect, but yes, every industry goes through some unexpected hype, and whenever unexpected hype gets created, unsubstantiated hype gets created, the bust will happen. But I do not think we have to worry about any impending bust that is around the corner.
Professor Sadagopan has wide research interests, starting with algorithms, operations research, multi-criteria optimization and database theory in the early 80s. He moved on to MIS, enterprise computing and new media in the early 90s. With his extensive interaction with the growing IT industry and the governments at many levels, his interests have grown to address the broader policy issues as well. He is invited to contribute to the Encyclopedia on Information Systems on ERP, as well as the Britannica Yearbook on IT in India.
Research as such, particularly in technology area, had been very much lagging in the country due to a combination of reasons. As long as the license permit quota Raj existed, it did not make sense to do research. It is better to kind of push the politicians to get a law amended to suit you. That will give you 300% return, whereas research would give you maybe a 10%, 20% improvement. Now that that has happened, we are ready for R&D. Companies are now investing heavily in R&D. An R&D culture in IT is happening. We should also give credit to the fact that the companies that have been in the forefront of research in IT, the IBMs of the world, the Hewlett Packards of the world, the Microsofts of the world, and recently the Googles and Yahoos of the world, they are all setting up their research centers in India. There is a big resurgence in research in IT, because we need that also, because lot of time people simply say produce more PhDs, but what will they do? Are there jobs for PhD? So, even Indian companies, the Infosys and the Wipros and the TCS of the world are stepping up their research. Even traditional companies like Tata Motors and Ashok Leyland are stepping up their research. So, you will see in the next 20 years, whatever happened in United States during the 40s to 70s and 80s will happen really fast in the next 20 years in India. I see a glorious time for people to pursue research, particularly youngsters pursuing PhD, because they will have great opportunities to contribute. They do not even have to necessarily limit themselves to academic career. Academic career would continue to be the most preferred career, at least for people like us, I am sure for many more, but it is not the only career for researchers. People can work in private sector, people will work in public sector. Our defense organizations will see resurgence. Our CSIR labs will see resurgence. Hopefully, our universities will see our resurgence. I expect a resurgence of research in the next 20 years.
Professor Sadagopan is a consultant to some of the largest private and public sector corporations in India in areas of computing, communications, software, automotive, oil and power industries, as well as social sector. He is a member of the board of directors of several private and public sector corporations. He is also a member of the board of studies of several universities. A prolific writer, he has authored 2 books, Management Information Systems, published by Prentice Hall, and Enterprise Resource Planning for Managers, published by Tata McGraw-Hill.
Lot of times people ask us this question, how come IT is confined to cities like Bangalore, Chennai and Hyderabad? They are not. They can be started anywhere where there are competent people available. We just need some imaginative people to start companies, because other than the communication infrastructure and computers and people, very little is needed. But nonetheless, early advantages stay for long. The first mover advantage for a city like Bangalore will not go away. I think what is important is the government to recognize that this is a young people's game. So, young people need certain aspects of life. They need access to schooling for their younger children, they need some amount of entertainment, they need good housing, they need good connectivity, etc. If the road connectivity, air connectivity improves, and good thing in India, many of the youngsters would like their parents to come and stay with them after retirement, because they make a good amount of money, they can support them. So, obviously, one also needs some amount of health care. If health care and education government does well, allows the private sector to build the infrastructure and possibly air connectivity, I see no reason why IT cannot go to the nook and corner. But I think it is important people learn from experiences like Bangalore. You need governments that enable this industry to flourish, governments that do not come and control everything and strangulate the whole thing. The success behind Bangalore's IT industry is government playing an enabling role. As long as that happens, I think I see no reason why IT will not go to the nook and corner. But it takes time. I think one of the mistakes also people do is that immediately in this country, for everything you give a color. You try to create an artificial divide that does not exist. It is as if people are refusing to go. You have to make it inviting to go. If the government does the job of making the other places inviting, people will go, but you can't just complain that people are not going.
Professor Sadagopan writes extensively on several areas of information technology and its impact on society. He is a featured columnist for the Times of India, where he writes a fortnightly column, E-Education, that provides deep insights into the various facets of information technology, the emerging technologies, upcoming areas, promising Indian IT companies, and generic career advice for young college graduates and IT professionals. Professor Sadagopan is not only admired by his students, but also IT professionals and technology enthusiasts around the world.
See, I prefer to use the word digital dividend than digital divide. I don't think there is any divide that is created. See, you cannot do 10 steps at one go. You have to take them one after other. After all, the entire IT industry is basically in the last 15 years, right. So, remember something like about 1990, Indian IT industry was not even couple of millions of dollars. The fact that we have come a long way in 15 years is something we should celebrate. One of the unfortunate part in India is, while it is good to be critical, an average Indian likes to write obituary of India too soon. We somehow like to discredit our own country and our own achievements. We need to get into a celebration mode without pampering us, without glorifying us. I think we have done so much. Just give another 15 days, things will happen. Because we should not forget that a large population of this country do not even have food to eat, healthy food to eat, safe drinking water, etc., etc. Just because I am an IT person, I would not be insane to mix up the priorities. I think good food, clean drinking water, safe housing, good clothes, they are first and foremost important. We need to provide all of them. There is no point providing computers to them much before all that. So, we should not lose the priority. My feeling is digital world will help you to make clothes cheaper and faster, help you to bring down the cost of food and cost of storing and production, bring down the cost of construction. In that sense, it is a true dividend which will make even the basic amenities available to larger section. And I think we also need governments that genuinely care, not pretend to care by posturing, but doing things genuinely for the people and not looking after only the vote catching. I say every country gets its time, and we are lucky to be at a time when India's time has come. I think we are having an opportunity to influence the world. My own advice, I would say request to the student community, here is a time when you have opportunities. Discover what is best for you. So, I think we are moving from a generation of rationing nation to a generation of nation with opportunities. Make the best use. The world gives you an opportunity to constantly learn, adapt, adjust, accommodate. If you refuse to, I think it is not fair that you expect a permanency. So, there is absolutely no insecurity in IT industry. A great country which will be welcome to everyone on earth. I think we should become a welcoming nation. When you are a billion plus people, a couple of millions of people can't make any difference. Even hundreds of millions of people can't make a difference. But we would like to become a country, just as United States is a country which everyone wants to go. Can we make India the country to which everybody should visit and stay, maybe by the middle of this century? When you are 60, 70, okay, can you kind of look back what a tremendous change you have made to this country? I think what can be more satisfying than that? And interestingly, IT can help you to achieve that. I think that is the reason why we get so excited about IT. It is not for the IT alone, but IT can change every possible human endeavor. And I would like all our youngsters to make the best use of this opportunity to be a global citizen, learn globally and contribute globally.